Hi. I know that some of you are actually watching, listening, and occasionally applying this. What is this? Well, this is a huge experiment. What does the experiment look like? It's taking the many parts of us, exemplified by this sequence of balls and colors, right? This just happens to be the mother's family in the dark, father's family in the light. That doesn't mean there's a qualitative difference. It just means there's a difference between the yin of consciousness and the yang of consciousness, the interior feminine of my mother's family, the exterior manifestation of my father's family. This is all me, right? And I'm suggesting to you that it might be possible, useful, and maybe even very important to go to one grandparent at a time to experience, feel, have gratitude for, clean, release, let go of, filter, all the possibilities of how to, if you will, receive what's good, repair what's not good, get rid of what's not yours. Lots of different ways of doing this. This is what the whole theory of it is about. How to consciously link individual parts that aren't necessarily linked. For example, my mother's family. These are basically three grandmothers on my mother's side. The first one, mother's mother, great grandmother, and then also the other great grandmother, the mother's father's mother, and their husbands. To me, these are fractured parts of my inner feminine that now contains the mechanism of my future expression of my health, my life, my career, my success, the vitality, things I might like. But we're saying that the step into this has been during this last week of the first month of autumn in the Northern Hemisphere. Yes, there's cultural lunar calendars, several different cultural social processes. The Chinese have a lunar calendar that starts in spring. The Jewish culture, this is their new year. Muslim, this is their new year. It's not founded on any of that, nor is it really in denial of it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just observing that other calendars use this as a starting point. I won't go through my personal frustrations just this time about how I spent 30 years focused on the one boy position, because the one boy position is the first increase of light on the first week of the first month of the winter solstice, which is the increase of light day length for 6 months coming up to the summer solstice. The descending day length happens to be women, the ascending day length, men. I'm suggesting this is a sequence. You see this thin white line that goes right through it? Right now, that's the pathway. Everything else about this happens to be all of my personal, social, emotional projections of facades, my dynamics, my way of being, projecting, addictions, whatever else, persona. This is filled. We're all filled with lots of impulses to maintain our self-survival, which means to clutch on to painful things, whether or not they're actually emotionally or physically healthy or not, because eventually they kill us. They cause diseases. So this is where we are, right here. So for the first week of 4 weeks, there's a different process. So for the first week of every one of these months, there's a single thing to do for a week, that is to consider the spiritual significance of that beginning. So what is the spiritual significance of the beginning of that month? It's the step onto the path of love, the divine love path. It's the stepping into the progress, while suggesting there might be a synchronistic sequence of the perfection of months, seasons, even hours of the day. So this very first week of the first month, let me ask you, what does the first 15 minutes of sunset, when the sun is completely off the horizon, technically, that's sunset. And typically, ideally, within 3, most of the time 4 hours, because this is 6 p.m., usually within 2 to 3 hours, we leave the physical body to go into the spirit world. I know that sounds outrageous, but no, we don't stay in the body. We take this time period to prepare to leave the material realm to go into the spirit world, where theoretically, ideally, we're experiencing the spirit world as a instrumentation, an education, a guidance about how to bring back from midnight to sunrise the new thing for us to be attracted to, learn, grow from. So what does the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes if you want, what does that feel like? If you had any idea that you were actually capable of identifying a very small, thin line in the dark that's made of light, and if you step on that very thin white line and you stay on that, oh, by the way, I can't do it. Don't get me wrong. Because anytime I try to step on that white line, the little sucker moves. And it moves because I still have facade-oriented projections, because theoretically that first 15 minutes is supposed to feel sweeter than that first smile of a baby, with some little tiny glimmer that you're stepping on the path that leads your being, soul, consciousness to higher worlds, the embodiment of your divine consciousness realized in the material world. Well, okay, that's a mouthful. So in the first 20 minutes of sunset, okay, let's go to the second 20 minutes. Well, for the second 20 minutes for me, it's how's it feeling like peace? A lake of peace. Well, I'm going to take a moment to share with you a lake of peace. Doesn't exactly look like this one, but it kind of does. I heard about this lake in western Wyoming in the Snowy Range. The Snowy Range is a peak of mountains that's a range of mountains 15,000 feet high. At 12,000 feet up that mountain, there's a lake, and it's about 1 mile in diameter. And it's only fed by snow and glacial water. That's all. It's filled. What they noticed about that lake was it's deep. Fishermen would go out there, they couldn't use their fish finders because couldn't measure the bottom. So eventually they decided to put a small ocean-type drone submarine robotic thing. Not that I'm in favor of this, by the way. Even though, okay, it's for science, right? We're going to send this little submarine down. They go down 6,000 feet, can't measure another 6,000 feet. It turns out that this very high lake is an old extinct volcano filled with water. Not only is it filled with water, there are caverns that go out in different directions. This is a body of water deeper than 95% of all the oceans on Earth that they know of. They can't be sure how deep this lake is. Okay, so the water doesn't move. No rivers. Not many boats operating at 12,000 feet, right? So I'm fascinated by this place. And then I find out that, well, the magnitude of the water, the mass of the water, brings a pressure on the bottom of the lake somewhere where the H2O, water, the pressure of the water presses the polarity of the two H's together, changes the actual charge of the water molecule so that it's different from the surrounding molecules. And then when the moon passes over, it has the capacity to lift these lighter molecules because of the compressed H2, lift these lighter molecules of water up to the first approximately 6 feet of the lake is filled with these very special water molecules that have been crushed by millions and millions of tons of water, lifted by the moon. No, this is real. I know. It's odd to consider that there's a lake like this. So being who I am, this is many years ago, before we had Google and maps and all that. I had a paper map. I found this lake. I'm going to go there. I get my car, 6-hour drive. I got my backpack and I'm all ready to go. And I'm going to go up this mountain as far as I can. Then I'm going to hike to that sucker and I'm going to drink that water. Drink the water of the Lake of Peace so that I can maybe even have a biochemical endowment of what it would feel like to have that much peace. No, by the way, I still don't have that much peace, but I'm working on it. So I go there and I'm prepared to hike, but there's a paved road all the way up the mountain in the summer. And this was summer, it was June. I went to get there on, well, of course, June 21st. It just so happens the only problem is they have weddings up on the top of this mountain near the lake. But don't worry, I found the stream that's going out of the lake and I got water and I got to drink all I wanted and take a whole bunch home and all of that. And I'm still, well, I'm saying this is what the first step on the path seems to imply. Now notice the difference that the first theoretical step on the path is the first 15 minutes of sunset leading into leaving your body for other higher dimensions. It's not sunrise. Sunrise, if it were at the spring equinox, that's into the increase of sunrise fire. That's the increase of 4-boy fire, 6-boy. That's the increase of materialization. So the first step onto the path is peace, not materialization through the rising force of the masculine sun. It's the setting sun, which to me implies the way through this is out of here. Well, actually, it's preparing us to be able to slow down, go into the abyss of the dark night of the soul, transit out of here, eventually to die, to leave the material realm and go somewhere else. Now, the problem is where you've come from is what you take with you. So I'm suggesting that you can go into this place. Now, here's my current metaphor of frustration about it. I'm trying to take a week of just focusing on the divine significance of this lake of peace and that transition into that time period, and then having all these other experiences that come and disturb it. Ah, friends in trouble, tragedy, this, shock, this, go there. I have a friend, just last night who basically gets in touch with me, and he's a medical doctor, gynecologist, works with thousands and thousands of women, delivers thousands of babies, but he confesses he has a personal issue of having somewhat of an addictive relationship to women and has a problem that's leading to an experience of embarrassment and shame. That's him, right? No. Yes, it is. My law of attraction on the first week, the last day of the first week, my law of attraction presents to me this opportunity to experience my own shame, embarrassment, loss, sexuality issues, marital failure, whatever you want to call it. It's my opportunity to feel this on the first week, which is supposed to be all sweet. Now, I won't go through telling you the rest of the time. People have been contacting me with different forms of other emotional, physical, psychological challenges. Plenty of things to protocol. Feel this. Feel this. Learn how to be guided for the truth about this. So there I am. I'm slightly on the path, experimenting with what it is like to step forward into this, shadowed evening, twilight entry, piece of the evening, entering into the opportunity to leave the body into the spirit world. I'm faced with this, but it feels more like a cave. And on the top of this cave, there are thousands and thousands of religions and philosophies. All of the known religions of mankind are up there. Christianity, Buddhism, Hindu, Muslim, Quran, Bhagavad Gita, the Torah, you name it, they're all there. Every metaphysical, New Age one, philosophy, psychological, Sumerians and the Anunnakis and the Ilium and the other, they're all up there. And so which one of these vectors of religious phenomena is this path? Is this a, quote, Christian but not Buddhist? Wait, this is Sumerian but not Muslim. Wait, this is Hindu but not. There are over 3,000 different Christian religions. Approximately, they say, 1,000 different versions of some form of Buddhism, and Hindu, Muslim, they have all their derivatives of types of types of types on top of types. We all do. We all have them around. So which one of these, if I'm stepping on the path, my very first little toe on that very first path, which one of these am I taking with me? Ideally, for me, none. I might call myself aligned in some way with the Christ consciousness through Jesus. How you do yours is up to you. I don't know what yours is. You don't really know what mine is. But my orientation on this path is I need to walk this path because I want to. And they're telling me that the very first step on this path is peace, feeling, tenderness, innocence, a level of childlike innocence, feeling. It's very hard to manifest. So if you step inside this cave, it's like stepping inside of a prison, and you have jail cells all around you, and you have all the prisoners reaching out, and you have now countless spirits of all these different religions, all trying to grab, pull, influence, project, and tempt in some way. And I'm supposed to walk through this dark night of the soul, just past the bridge of the abyss and the void and the nothing, into the transformation of metamorphosis, open my heart to and be guided by something I don't see, but that's called faith, because I'm going to walk through this gauntlet anyway. And a friend calls me and admits to adultery. Shame. Well, yeah, it's called my law of attraction to help me go right through this gauntlet. Yes, all around there's unloving things or egoic attachments and, or you name it, delusions of grandeur, this, that, they're all there. But in some level, I'm designed to keep going forward past this gauntlet of confusion and despair and hopelessness. And realizing I don't want to go there just for myself, because I kind of want to turn around, because I personally have faith and confidence in where it leads in the eternal nature of the questionless silence and bliss. Yeah, I have confidence in that, but not so much confidence in actually leaving some suggestions for you, other people like this, to experiment with your own feelings in peace, purity. Wow. So I'm going to step on this path, this lake of peace. This is the symbology of the rose that's white, the sacredness of the soul's heart, consciousness, going into something higher, right? That's all this is. This is a grand experiment. Because quite frankly, not going this way, if I turn around and I look around in the world, geez, what a tough world to live in. It's hard to find anyone to talk to, let alone a genuine friend. Partners don't talk to partners, siblings don't, and families are fighting. Countries are at war. This is that, that's this. And I'm willing, am I wanting to go in here to leave it so I can get out of it? Is that escapism? I want to go to God because I don't want to grow up and get a job, which is possible too with my constitution. So that's what it's been like for me in the last 24 hours. And I know, by the way, the next day starts the second week of the month. The second week of the month is all internal. Glands, organs, body systems, my own emotions, my own self-image. It's inside me. It's all about me in here. The third week is more about relationship phenomena, but that's the third week. The second week is about me feeling me, but that's tomorrow. And I've made a commitment to you to share with you what my journey feels like. Here, this is a picture I just happen to like. If I can call that my ability to feel, which I don't think it's that big, by the way. I think it's much smaller than that. And if this is the actual cave and this is the actual sequence of the spiral to forever, I like feeling that drop of water to be the lake, like Lake Marie. It's never had a ripple. If I could step onto that path, have a sincere, pure desire, even for a split second, it's worth it. And even if I can't do it, the sincere desire motivated by partially obstructed intention with some element of old man faith, I can step on that and experience that. I don't know. It's at least worth entertainment. I don't know. I'll let you know tomorrow or the next day or next week. And if I were really lucky and I were to suddenly vanish, you would wonder what happened to me, because it's entirely possible that any experiment like this, I might just be bing, or one of the guys in the tunnel got me. I don't know. But, oh, anyway, thank you for the willingness to endure my rambling dissertation about the consciousness of life. If it weren't for you, I would be more boring than I already am. Maybe I'll see you again, maybe not. See ya.